on Dr. Phill. A violent relationship
Tim broke my nose. I was bleeding everywhere.
brought them to Dr. Phill. Now,
I said to you, get away from this man. He is going to kill you.
they're back.
I wish you would just take responsibility.
I went on national television and admitted what I did. You've played the victim the whole time.
And he's engaged to someone new.
Brittany wants to tell the fiancé to call off the wedding.
She contacted Kristen. She was trying to warn her that she didn't need to be with me.
I told her everything that Tim has ever done, and she just ignored it.
You have eyes wide open at this point,
Yes,
right?
I do. Wide open.
Do you intend to pursue this relationship?
She says, marry my ex, and you'll be sorry.
I just said I think if you want to make a good choice, this is not somebody you want to date.
I'm wondering if your motive is to protect Kristen or jealousy that he's with somebody else. Let's do it. Why don't we stop all the drama, stop all the fighting, and let's go get you better.
Here we go. Have a good show, everybody.
If I can help get this family back on track, are you willing to do that?
Ready, free, take.
This is going to be a changing day in your life. Go, Dr. Phill. Thank you. You know, people ask me all the time, what happens to the guests when they leave the studio? You really wonder, right? Well, today, a twist on this couple who we met 6 months ago, and it involves another woman. Brittany is back and wants to tell the new woman, keep away from her ex or your life will be in danger. Take a look at what happened the last time Brittany was on the show with her ex-boyfriend, Tim.
Tim and I fight all the time. He's the most abusive person I've ever met in my life.
I can be extremely violent. I punched Brittany in the face, kicked her, given her a concussion.
Tim has choked me.
I'll wrap my whole arm around her neck, putting as much force behind it as I can. When I feel her body go limp, and then I'll start to let go.
What the hell are you thinking? I've counted 9 distinct instances where you acknowledge that you have attacked her in what I believe to be life-threatening ways.
Brittany has had 2 pregnancies. When Brittany was about 7 weeks pregnant with the first child, we had gotten in an extremely violent fight.
He pushed me down on the bed, pinned my arms back, and sat on my stomach. I didn't know what to do.
A couple of weeks later, we found out that the baby's heartbeat had stopped.
I feel like Tim's physical abuse may have contributed to my miscarriage.
When was the last time he choked you out?
3 weeks ago.
A week and a half.
Oh.
I did the math.
Tim has cheated on me throughout our entire relationship.
Brittany had caught me having sex with my ex.
They were in the car, struggling to get their clothes on. Tim freaked out. He jumped out of the car with only his boxers on.
I jumped on the hood of her car since I couldn't get inside of it.
He was screaming and yelling at the top of his lungs in the most high-pitched voice.
Let me in! Pretty, let me in! Let me in!
How many times have you hooked up with this ex-girlfriend?
Probably about 5 times.
How many times have you cheated on her overall?
About 11. Brittany and I have a 6-month-old daughter.
We fight in front of our daughter a lot. One time he was holding our daughter and with the other arm put me in a chokehold and choked me.
I'm afraid that one day I may go too far and in the process of hurting Brittany, hurt my daughter as well.
You owe it to that baby to protect her mother, and you're not doing it.
One time I threw away Tim's fast food and he freaked out.
I balled up my fist, reared back as far as I could, and I punched Brittany in the face.
Tim broke my nose. I was bleeding everywhere.
That continued to make me more mad, the fact that she was getting blood on the floor.
He made me get in the bathtub with all my clothes on and told me I need to clean my mess up.
This man is going to kill you if you don't get away from him. See, these are quotes from you. I will put my arms around her neck and squeeze as hard as I can. I usually stop choking her after 30 seconds to a minute when I can feel her relax her muscles. And then I would sit there and stare at her while she cries. In addition to being beyond creepy, that is beyond dangerous. It sounds to me like what I would hear when they were questioning you about her death. Well, as I said earlier, Tim has a new girlfriend named Kristen, and they're engaged. Now, Brittany has never met her in person, and she wants to warn her face to face to stay away from Tim. Although when she left this stage, Brittany did not take my advice and stay away from Tim herself. Take a look.
After we got home from the Dr. Phil show, Tim all of a sudden started having anxiety attacks. He thought that I was going to leave him. Tim told me that he left everything unpure about him in Hollywood and that he was a changed man. Dr. Phil suggested that I stay away from him until he's deemed safe because with his past behavior, he could kill me.
This man is going to kill you. Do you hear me talking? You hear me telling you?
But I chose to stay in that situation. When I looked online to look at the comments to see what people were saying, people were commenting that I needed my child taken away. And I got scared. I told Tim I need to leave and stay low for a while because Child Protective Services could come and take my daughter. He told me I wasn't going to leave, and if I were to try, he would block the door. 2 days after the show aired, Child Protective Services came to our house, and since I was still living there with him, they took her that day. I called Tim. I just told him that I was moving out, that I was leaving him, and that I would never get back with him. Tim was seeking female companionship by messaging every girl on his Facebook. Then he started talking to this girl, Kristen, that he knows. They started dating. I contacted Kristen. I told her everything that Tim has ever done. I warned Kristen about the way Tim is, but she thinks she's gonna be different. A week later, I found out that they were engaged. I tried to warn her and she just ignored it.
Okay. Brittany, I'm glad you're back, but you didn't do what I told you in the most clear terms that I could tell you. I mean, I watched this tape back, and I said to you, get away from this man. He is going to kill you. But you didn't do that. Because I said you shouldn't even leave with him.
No, when I got home, we came home together.
Listen, I'm not trying to be critical of you now. I'm just saying you have to value yourself. You have to value as the mother of your child. You have to value yourself as an individual. You have to value yourself as a mother of your child. And you did not do that. And 3 weeks and 2 days after the taping of this show, and 2 days after this show aired, the Child Protective Services in your state came to your home, knocked on the door, and removed your child from the home.
Yes. She asked me if I was still living there with Tim, and I said yes. I explained to her that I had had a safety plan to leave on a Sunday, which they came on a Friday. I had a safety plan to leave on Sunday to leave while he was at work, and I told them I would leave then. If that wasn't good enough, I would leave then and just go somewhere. And they were there for about an hour and a half deciding whether or not they were going to take her, but they ended up taking her.
Mm-hmm. They took the child and put her into safety and said you were required to do a number of things in order to have the child back, correct?
Yes.
Number one, you had to go through a 16-week domestic violence class to be completed by June 13th of 2013. You have already completed that course. Number two, you had to complete a 12-week substance abuse course to be completed by June 13th. You've not completed that course, but are well on your way. A 12-week parenting class by June 13th, 2013. You've not completed that, but you are well on your way. Regular visits with a counselor. You have been very diligent in keeping those appointments, and you're living in a safe home environment, and you are staying away from Tim at this point.
Yes.
So you are in compliance with all of these things. You needed to do these things. You agree?
Yes.
You really needed to hit the reset button to get your values in line and to get your priorities in line, because you had lost yourself in that relationship. Do you agree?
Definitely had.
Next, Brittany's ex is back. This time, he wants Brittany to stop contacting his new girlfriend. We'll be right back.
I have a new woman in my life. When Brittany found out, she contacted Kristen. She was extremely mean to her. She called her an idiot. She was trying to warn her that she didn't need to be with me. I became extremely angry. I feel very strongly that Brittany just wanted to ruin my relationship with Kristen and any other partners that should have come along. If you don't tread carefully and you step on me, it's just, it'll explode.
You grabbed her, threw her into the wall, left a big hole. You got on top of her and put your forearm up against her neck.
I've punched Brittany in the face, kicked her, given her a concussion.
She was 7 weeks pregnant. You sat on her. And 2 weeks later, you had a miscarriage. And then you pushed her to the ground and she got a concussion, hitting her head on the concrete.
I'll wrap my whole arm around her neck, putting as much force behind it as I can. When I feel her body go limp, and then I'll start to let go.
You punched her in the head repeatedly. You broke her nose. You pushed her down to the ground and her head bounced off the wooden floor. You deny that. You choked her and squeezed her face with your hand. Well, the last time Tim was here, I told him to stay away from his girlfriend, Brittany. He didn't listen. And because of his violent behavior, the state placed their baby in the foster care system. Now, Tim says that he is a changed man, so much so that he's even got a new girlfriend, one with children of her own.
After being on the Dr. Phill show, I started asking myself questions like, how could I do that? It really made me open my eyes to how much I really did need to change. I had to make a conscious effort to try to make things better. When I watched the footage of myself, I definitely felt like there was some kind of monster inside me. I knew that there were things on the show that would intimidate anyone, and I knew that there were questions that were going to be raised.
You punched her in the head repeatedly. You tore out like hair extensions and opened a wound on her head.
Last time on the show, I feel like I missed the opportunity to touch on bad decisions that Brittany had made. I believe that the majority of my angry outbursts with Brittany were exacerbated by her behavior. I can barely look at a picture of Brittany without feeling my blood pressure and my heart rate rise. I really get angry pretty quickly. I'm not an evil person. I have realized that Brittany and I are better off apart from each other. I have a new woman in my life. When Brittany found out, she contacted Kristen through Facebook and sent her some instant messages where she was extremely mean to her. She called her an idiot. She was trying to warn her that she didn't need to be with me. I became extremely angry, and I had actually contacted Brittany telling her to stay out of my business, to stay out of my life. I feel very strongly that Brittany just wanted to ruin my relationship with Kristen and any other partners that should have come along. I feel very strongly about Kristen. There's not a doubt in my mind that I've developed a love for her that I haven't experienced in a previous relationship. And I believe myself to have the capability to put together and keep together a strong and successful relationship. And so I truly believe that we were brought together to make each other better people.
Okay, Tim, it's good to see you again.
Thank you.
You were surprisingly candid when you were here. You admitted what was going on. You confessed to what I thought was grisly conduct with Brittany. I said to you that you needed to stay away from her. You need to get away from her. You need to stay away from her because I felt like you were going to do serious damage to her, if not kill her. That would, of course, be tragic for her. It would be tragic for your child. If her mother was seriously injured or killed, that it would be tragic for you. You would wind up in prison, right. That you were in a high-risk situation. You said, got it, hear you, went home and did exactly the opposite.
I did have the intentions of following your advice. A week or a week and a half later that I was contacted and prepared to go to the PNP Center down in Dallas. And after I was flown down there, they performed their tests on me and had, deemed me safe to be around. They said that I was already good to go home.
I didn't tell you to go home for a week and a half and kind of see how things went. I said, do not be together and you went home and you stayed together for a week and a half. Then you went off to a treatment evaluation center. By the grace of God, you didn't kill each other or the baby during that time.
It wasn't my plan, though, to disregard your advice, though. When we got home, like I said, it just had fallen together at such an accelerated rate. I was fully prepared to spend a month or two out of the apartment.
You did what you did. But now, I can guarantee you, they made the right decision taking that baby away from the two of you living together in a high domestic violence situation with you doing what you're doing. I believe that children should be with their biological parents. I believe they should be there. There's no question about that. And in a high-risk situation, I think that was their decision, not mine, but I think they made the right decision, in my opinion. At this point, you've moved on.
Correct.
You're no longer in this relationship. You have a new girlfriend, and she has 3 children.
Correct, yeah.
You didn't take very long moving from this relationship to another.
No, and that was kind of by accident. I had gotten...
Just another accelerated situation that fell together.
Well, no. Kristen and I have known each other for a couple of years through Facebook.
How did you learn about this relationship?
His Facebook?
Once you saw this, you saw she had children.
Yes.
And so you started communicating with her. I'm wondering if your motive is purely to protect Kristen and her children, or part of it is jealousy that he's with somebody else.
I can understand that. The only reason I wrote her is because I was looking at my daughter's pictures and I was crying, and then I thought about the pain I was going through, and so I sent her a letter, and it was completely sincere. It wasn't rude. I wasn't rude to her at all. I just said, I think if you want to make a good choice, this is not somebody you want to date.
Okay, so you don't have any feelings for him?
No.
You're not sort of, kind of, maybe,
No.
sort of backdoor?
Maybe anger, that's the
in love
only
with
emotion.
him in some way, or?
No, I do not. The only emotion I have towards him is anger.
Okay. And do you think she's a trigger for you? Because you, I mean, just since she started talking, you've changed. Because you were like Mr. Rogers when you first came out here. And just in the few minutes that you've been out here and she started talking, you've kind of gotten this, like, dark look on your face. Do you guys just kind of bring out the worst in each other?
Without a doubt. I don't believe I'm an angry person. I'm not an angry person. I'm not a violent person or anything like that. I just...
Generally speaking.
Right. Well, and there were details that I didn't get to talk about the last time that I was on the show because I was intimidated and flustered, and some of the details she'll deny to the grave because I believe that she is somewhat in denial. Like, there is a misconception that the reason I broke her nose was because she threw fast food out the window. No, I broke her nose out of a reaction to her hitting me that night. We had gotten home, walked into the apartment, we continued to fight after that issue, and because I was standing in front of the door, she hit me, and I blacked out and reacted. That's when she got hit. She'll deny that fact to the day. But I don't believe that I'm a violent person. I believe that the way that our conversations went, I believe the way that our fights went, her attitude, her language, her body language, things like that, were huge, huge triggers for me.
It is not okay for her to hit you.
I didn't hit him.
And, well, let's just, for argument's sake.
Okay.
For argument's sake, let's say that she did. Mm-hmm. There is never any theory under which it is okay for you to ever put your hands on a woman in anger. Under any theory.
I agree.
So the fact that she hit you and therefore you just blacked out and hit her in the nose, that's not okay. Just think about that. Next, Tim's new fiance is here, and Brittany doesn't believe Tim has changed one bit. So Brittany wants to tell the fiance to call off the wedding before it's too late. We'll be right back.
She seemed obsessed trying to ruin Tim's life. Brittany would text me and ask me if I'm with Tim. I eventually told her to please leave me alone. I kind of felt like Brittany was trying to stalk me.
I feel angry when Brittany tries to meddle in my relationship with Kristen. Brittany did create a fake Facebook account to try to trick me and gain information about me. And she also used to hack into my Gmail account to kind of see what emails were being sent and received to get information on me that way as well.
Tim used to live with Brittany until the state decided that his behavior was creating an unsafe environment for their precious child. So now he has a new girlfriend named Kristen, a woman Brittany says isn't safe around Tim either.
Brittany contacted me because she said she wanted to warn me about Tim.
She seems foolish, irresponsible, and immature.
She told me stories about Tim doing the violent things towards her and warned me to stay away from him because he would do that to me. Pretty much put everything on Tim. Then I just started realizing that maybe she was trying to get me to stay away from Tim just to hurt Tim.
I think Kristen makes bad choices. They were engaged before they had actually met in person. Kind of feel sorry for her because the only reason that she would get with somebody who's like Tim does is because she's insecure.
She seemed obsessed trying to ruin Tim's life. Brittany would text me and ask me if I'm with Tim or ask me where I am. And I went out with Tim one night and she kept asking me where I was. So I eventually told her to please leave me alone. I kind of felt like Brittany was trying to stalk me.
It makes me angry that both of them tend to ignore their problems because both of them rushed immediately into a relationship. They both seem to be kind of crazy.
Brittany has really made me angry by trying to ruin things for us, creating drama between me and Tim. She's trying to just ruin everything for Tim.
Okay, Kristen, thank you for being here. You guys connected on Facebook for a while, right?
Yes.
But you only met in person when?
Back in January.
So you've only known each other for a few months in person?
Yes, now in person and for just a few months.
And at what point did you learn that these two had problems that involved domestic violence?
The same day that I met him, he told me a little bit about his past relationship with Brittany, that he had hit her in the face out of self-defense.
Okay, out of self-defense, okay. And when did he mention that he had been here?
The first day I met him, he mentioned that he had been on the Dr. Phill show, but he only said that it was from for problems with his ex-girlfriend, or his child's mother, Brittany, with her.
And so you went on drphil.com and you found the promo.
Yes.
For just a little clip about the show, and that gave you pause.
After I saw those things, just a little bit of part of it, I said, okay, no, I'm not doing this. That's all I need. All I needed was that little thing that I saw, and then I was done. And I didn't want to be involved with Tim anymore.
Okay. Since Kristen hasn't yet seen the last show, I have a section of the tape that I think she should see.
Okay.
So I just want to be sure you have some information, some data, so we're all on the same page. You're good with this, right? Yeah. So let's take a look at this so you are seeing it. I've counted 9 distinct instances where you acknowledge that you have attacked her in what I believe to be life-threatening ways. She says the first time you were abusive, you got on top of her and yelled at her 2 inches from her face. The second time, you grabbed her, threw her into the wall, left a big hole. When she tried to get away, you got on top of her and put your forearm up against her neck. The third time, she was 7 weeks pregnant, you sat on her. And 2 weeks later, you had a miscarriage. The fourth time, you drove home so erratically that you were bouncing her around the car. And then you pulled her out of the car, pushed her to the ground, and she got a concussion, hitting her head on the concrete. The fifth time, you had a fist fight. You punched her in the head repeatedly. You tore out like hair extensions and opened a wound on her head. The sixth time, you held her against the outside of your apartment and punched her in the side of the head. The seventh time, you broke her nose. He says to you, get in the bathroom, you're getting blood on the floor. And then you're criticizing her for getting blood on the floor. That made you madder. The eighth time, you pushed her down to the ground and her head bounced off the wooden floor. You deny that. The ninth time, you choked her and squeezed her face with your hand. Do these things cause you concern?
Yes, they do. I'm worried. I think about it all the time.
This isn't the first woman that you've had these issues with.
Well, correct, yeah.
You were in anger management court ordered when you met her.
Right, yeah.
From circumstances with your ex-wife.
Correct.
So this isn't your first situation. So it isn't just Brittany specific.
Right, well, and the stuff that had happened with my ex-wife was really exclusive to the absolute very end of that relationship.
I wish you would just take responsibility.
Okay, but
I
if
have
that was...
this whole entire time. I went on national television and admitted to the whole country what I did. You've played the victim the whole time.
Okay.
I mean, if there's anything that I am, it's honest and responsible. Yeah. I mean, considering what I've done so far, honestly, though, and again, everything that's happened, I don't condone it. And I don't believe that it's ever right to fight with a woman the way that I did, to do the things that I did to Brittany. It's never right to do any of that. My argument for her, since everything has happened, has just been that she would acknowledge that she contributed somewhat to the way things went. I know full well that I was responsible for the decisions that I made when it came to how I handled my arguments with her. But I've made statements that if you would ask a saint to spend a week with this person, by the end of the week, he'd want to do the same thing.
Well, if your ex-wife was a fluke, if that was fluke 1, and this is fluke 2, the question you have to ask if you want to be fluke 3. All right, when we come back, we're going to hear from Brittany's roommate, who's allegedly been helping her communicate with her ex, Tim. We'll be right back.
One of Brittany's friends has been threatening me, telling me that she was going to beat me up if I said anything mean about Brittany. It's really scary. I was scared to do this interview because of Brittany or her friends doing something to me. I went ahead and did the interview because I do believe that Tim needs to get his story out there, that Brittany is not the only victim.
Well, 3 days ago, Tim's fiancée, Kristen, told us that she was threatened that she better not talk badly about Brittany on the show or else. Who made that threat against you?
One of her friends.
And what was said to you?
Well, she knows that I do Taekwondo from Facebook. She reads my Facebook post, and she said she doesn't care about my martial arts skills, which to me that was a threat, like she was going to try and beat me up if I said anything mean about her.
She never threatened to beat you up or anything like that, so.
All I know is I received a phone call at work. I'm in the middle of helping one of my customers, and I received a phone call from...
Boy, you ought to stay out of this one. This would be a real good chance to just shut up.
Yeah.
Brittany's roommate, Brooke, asked to come to support Brittany. Brooke, what's this all about?
The issue with the Taekwondo is when they had first started dating, she had told Brittany that she was doing Taekwondo, and it didn't matter if Tim tried to attack her because she was a Taekwondo artist for whatever reason.
Have you tried to intimidate Kristen in any way?
I didn't threaten her. I told her it'd be best for her to stay away from Tim. Nobody threatened her.
Look, Dr. Lawless, I asked you to be here today because you were gracious enough to work with Tim, and may Dr. Lawless have your permission to speak candidly about your visit to PNP?
Yes.
Any barriers or boundaries?
No, none at all.
Okay. So, Dr. Lawless, you did work with Tim there, and what basically did you find, and what would you think is the circumstance with him going forward?
Well, first of all, when he showed up to PNP, we did a full battery on him. And we found that he had a great deal of impulsivity, very great amount of immaturity. What we didn't see was any kind of brain issues that would basically be a factor in terms of his rage. We didn't see any, for example, inflammation of the brain or any kind of abnormality in the brain.
So in summary, what would you say his prognosis is?
Well, I think he made a great start. I think he is kind of a model of intention to do well. He's still overreactive, as we've seen today, and he still needs a lot of coaching in terms of how to handle stressful situations.
So even though it's a high-risk situation now, you see the prognosis is very positive.
I do.
So you think he has resources to do well?
Yes.
Okay. Do you agree with that?
100%.
So you're willing to learn, you're willing to do the things you need to do?
Absolutely. My main concern at this point now, since everything has happened, is to do whatever I need to do to get my daughter back to her family. And when she first got taken away and after my relationship with Brittany initially fell apart, I was extremely angry and extremely volatile, and I was extremely mean to her. But I mean, it does need to be said that, honestly, at this point, I would love nothing more than to be able to co-parent my daughter with a sense of stability and dependability, in that I'm going to be able to get along with Brittany.
Do you recognize that you need help? You need training?
Yeah.
Because, listen, maturity isn't a chronological thing. It's a learning, it's an experiential thing. We learn things as we go along, and you lacked the role models. You lacked a father, a man to put his arm around your shoulder and say, son, here's how this works.
Yeah.
Here's how this happened. I'm sorry that you didn't have that in your life. I really am. And you need someone to fill those gaps in for you now. And you say some stuff now that the audience just gasp at. And he says it out of ignorance. And by the way, look up ignorance. That's not an insult. Ignorance means lack of information. Mm-hmm. You say it out of lack of information. And that's why people gasp that don't lack the information. They, how could he say that, my God? Why did you not go to the therapist that we set up for you?
I wasn't set up with an official therapist to go see. I had gone to the P&P center, and when I got back, I made every effort to be set up with a therapist. Now, most of the phone calls that I made to try to get set up with that were from work, because I had a busy work schedule. And so I did try to follow up. I did try to get set up with a therapist.
Did you have any trouble connecting with your therapist?
I didn't.
Yeah. Well, we will renew those efforts for you.
I'm a little concerned. You are not ready to be a father to this child.
I want to introduce you to Areva Martin. She is a child advocate. I mean, this is a woman that she is a Harvard-educated attorney. She is an authority when it comes to child custody. She is an authority when it comes to women's issues, but more importantly, one of the most passionate child advocates I've ever seen. Areva, thank you for being here. Welcome, Areva Martin.
Thank you, Dr. Phill.
Areva, what is this child entitled to? What is the court going to be looking for before they say this child can come home to these parents?
First of all, Dr. Phill, you know, just kudos to Brittany. She's done, you know, so many of the things on that list. I just want to congratulate you for taking this so seriously. You have made the first big step, you know, Dr. Phill, that the courts want to see. They want to see that this child is going to be in a safe environment. And I felt really good about what Dr. Lawless said about Tim, but the courts aren't going to care that you've started the process. The courts aren't going to return this child to this home until the process has been completed. It cannot take the chance that you have another reaction to something that Brittany says and you're holding the child while you're punching her in the nose. So until the courts are completely guaranteed that you have worked out your anger issues, and I'm a little concerned because as I saw you bristle at Brittany, I was just sitting here, you know, I was cringing myself thinking, you're not ready. You are not ready to be a father to this child. You've got to deal with those anger issues because that child child's life is all the court cares about, and the safety of that child. Get into the parenting classes that Brittany's in. Get into counseling. Get into some therapy for yourself. That's what the court is going to want to see before you can have anything other than the supervised visitation that you have currently. I hope that, Brittany, after you complete all of your courses, that you can go into the courts and get your child back. I don't want to see you in contact with Tim, though, until that happens. The court said no contact, and it means no contact. Not Facebook, not Twitter, not Texas, none of that. Do not jeopardize your only opportunity to get your child back. As a mom, I say that to you with all sincerity. Your #1 job, get your child back.
We will help you to locate and find these things and do them. And you have 3 children. You should want him to do all of this stuff. And you need to be on high alert and watch for any warning signs whatsoever to see him, because you have an undivided loyalty to your 3 children.
Yes.
And you are with a high-risk candidate until he gets the emotional maturity and development that he is. And that undivided loyalty is to your 3 children. And if he conducts himself like a gentleman, if he lives up to the positive prognosis that Dr. Lawless says that he has, then he may develop into a wonderful mate and a wonderful father. But your duty is to yourself and your children. And if he can grow into that, great. But you need to watch very, very closely.
And I do.
And be willing to hit the door if need be.
Mm-hmm.
There's something that Kristen is even more concerned about. Talk about that when we come back. Kristen says that even more concern than she has about the violence is the fact that Tim sometimes spends time on the computer connecting with and talking to men on Craigslist and that sort of thing.
No.
Do you do that?
No, that was...
Does he do that?
No.
So why are you concerned about it?
I'm not concerned about it anymore, but when I saw that part in the last show, it did concern me because it's something I'm not familiar with.
Right, so you have no interest in that at this point?
Right. No, her concern was that I had done it in the past,
Yes.
but I have no interest in that whatsoever.
Right, so you've moved past that?
Yeah.
He was doing it after our daughter was taken away. I found several on Craigslist of him advertising on it.
And are you still on Craigslist?
Not at all.
Again, these are things that I just want you to be eyes open and you two to have a completely transparent relationship. And if you have nothing to hide, then you hide nothing, right?
I was open from the very beginning. The very first day that she and I met physically in person, I told her that I had been on the original episode of the Dr. Phil show. I told her that Brittany and I had a violent history.
You changed it to make it look like it was like a mutual thing and you were somewhat a victim.
No.
You didn't say the honest story. You told the Tim version of the story.
No, I told the entire story.
And then you manipulated her after she made the decision. She didn't want to see you anymore because she was like, that's a bad situation. I don't want to be in it. Then you manipulated her and made her think that her own decision was wrong, and you convinced her to be with you again.
How did I make that? She's an adult woman. She can make her own decisions.
Okay, this is between these two now.
Okay.
You've weighed in. She's gotten your 10-page... 10 pages.
That was all back and forth. That's not just me.
No, and this is very articulate, and I think you have made some very good points, and I think you've had your say, and whatever decision she makes at this point, she does it with a full set of data, right?
Right.
And I think what she said to you has been helpful, has it not?
Yes. I appreciate her coming to me and saying those things.
But
I do.
You've had your say.
I'm done.
Yeah, really, and you've had your say now, and so you have eyes wide open at this point,
Yes,
right?
I do. Wide open.
Do you intend to pursue this relationship?
I do.
But you're going to do it with eyes wide open?
Yes.
Recognizing that it is a high-risk relationship?
Yes.
And you're going to watch for warning signs and be ready to exit the relationship?
Anytime I see anything that scares me, I'm out.
And remember, your undivided loyalty is to your children.
Yes, it is.
All right, next I'm going to show you how you can take a quiz to find out if you are in an abusive relationship. And you go, well, how could somebody not know? Sometimes you think, I just thought this is how people lived. Seriously, people sometimes don't know. We'll be right back. Well, I want to thank all of our guests today, especially attorney Ariva Martin for her very sound advice. Ariva, thanks for not only your advice today, but more importantly, for all you do in your role as an advocate. I really appreciate it. Also want to thank Dr. Frank Lawless for his help with Tim and Brittany at the P&P Center at Dallas. And we're going to put a link up for the P&P Center on our homepage. I'm telling you, it is the place to go if you're looking for information about what's going wrong with you or somebody that you love. As you know, we've been heading a campaign called End the Silence on Domestic Violence. And if you're in trouble or you know someone who is, do not waste a second. Call the National Domestic Violence Hotline at 1-800-799-SAFE. And also on drphill.com, we have a quiz you can take right now to find out if you are in an abusive relationship. I want to thank Robin for all of the work that you're doing with the women's shelters around the country, because Robin has been a real ambassador. She's been a real ambassador for us with all the women's shelters around the country. Thanks for being here. So long. This is going to be a changing day in your life.
Have a good show, everybody. Here we go.
If it matters to you, that's what I want to talk about. Are we ready to move? Let's do it. What if you had to deal with this every day? Kids kicking and screaming, doors slamming, dogs barking, parents yelling, nonstop noise. Now, my first guest, Jessie, says that she desperately needs to be rescued from this chaotic life. She claims that while she's stuck in this madness, her husband, Jeremy, escapes by literally running to the hills every day.
What?
I am an overwhelmed mom with a very chaotic family.
Look at this mess. Do you hear Aiden? What?
There is always arguing and screaming and yelling.
Hey!
Now!
Oh, please.
Right now we're headed to go get the kids from school. Every day at 6 o'clock my day starts. Daycare kids start arriving. I'm taking them to school. Then I'm doing snack time, walking the dogs, cooking, cleaning. Jeremy comes home at 6:30. The chaos begins once again.
Look at this mess. I need help cleaning.
I think Jessie can do more during the day, do dishes, the laundry. I think she purposely saved these things for me. You got to appreciate that she has all this free time. She can do whatever she wants to do and doesn't have like a boss responsibility. To me, it's like not really work.
Jeremy and I argue constantly.
And why were you badgering me about it at 9:45?
Because that's the time that an adult is supposed to have a conversation.
Because Jeremy and I argue, I think the kids argue, and they hit and push and shove. Both my kids are out of control.
I'm going to take the DS if you don't put the vacuum away, Aiden. No. Please stop.
They scream and yell. I tell Aiden not to go up there all the time. He doesn't listen. They charge up and down stairs.
Give me the DS, Aiden.
They slam doors.
Aiden!
Lock themselves in their room.
I'm going to count to 3, and then I'm going to pick the lock and take that DS for a week. No. Open this door right now. No.
With Jessie, everything is wrong. Nothing is right.
He doesn't get apple juice in a glass cup.
Sorry, hold on. Well, this is...
They're right there, the blue cup. Pour it.
Jeremy is obsessed with hiking.
I love being outside. I'm stuck in an office all day.
Jeremy comes home after work, then hightails it hiking. Aiden cries when Jeremy goes hiking because Aiden wants Jeremy, his dad, to play with them.
Yeah, this is why I get out. This is why.
Jessie doesn't hate the fact that I hike. She just hates the fact that I do anything without her.
24/7, I'm a mother and a wife and a father and the caretaker all wrapped up into one. If Jeremy doesn't change and this goes on and on and on, I really don't know how much longer I could deal with this.
Hand it back to me now.
Okay, what do you think about watching that?
Well, I think that you're missing my side of it. It seems like it's all about her. The thing is, when I try to have a conversation with Jess, she attacks me. She likes to assign blame. She just ends up bickering with me, and it becomes an irrational conversation. So she doesn't see my side of it.
Aren't you blaming her for this chaos?
I'll blame myself for when she acts that way. I don't know how to react.
What do you think she does all day?
Well, she takes care of the kids, and I absolutely appreciate what she does because we couldn't
I don't think you do.
No, I do. And I tell her that.
Yeah, and you have a daycare, right?
Yes.
And how many children do you have?
6.
6? Okay, you take care of 6 kids most of the day.
Yes.
And this is her routine. 6 a.m. wakes up, 7 makes breakfast for her own kids, and daycare kids start arriving. 7:30 takes her own kids to school, takes 2 daycare kids with her. 7:40 feeds the 2 daycare kids who have arrived for breakfast. 8 o'clock drives to the dog park with 2 kids and 2 dogs. 9 a.m. drives back home. 9 to 10:30, changing diapers, interacting with the kids. 10:30 picks up 3rd daycare kids from preschool. 11:30 picks up 4th daycare kid from kindergarten. 12 to 12:30 heads home and prepares lunch. 2:45 packs up daycare kids in the car, picks up Alicia, Aiden, and 1 more daycare child from the school bus stop. Homework, snacks, changing, soccer practice. Daycare kids go home. Cleans house, does chores, showers. Bedtime for Aiden. Bonding time with her daughter, and then 9:30 finally bedtime.
Okay.
So where is...
Well...
Okay, what?
Well, she's organized that, and it works very well. She developed a system during the day.
How do you know you're hiking?
Well, no, I'm only hiking an hour a day. That's all I do. And she makes it seem like I'm hiking. And if I were to go to the gym and work out for an hour, I mean, that's reasonable. It's not like I'm hiking. I would love to go to Yosemite, to these places, but I'm hiking locally.
You say you're going to hike 1,000 days in a row?
Yes.
And what day are you on?
I'm on 70-something right now.
So you got a lot to go.
Yeah, just every day, but it's not... Look, I aspire to do long hikes, and right now I'm just doing very short hikes.
Well, he says you're just overreacting to all this. You need to calm down.
Please.
Quit bickering. Just chat him up about this.
I
What do you
agree.
think?
I agree with calming down, yes, but I need help. And I can't calm down if I don't have help with everything. Not just, well, I'm here. Isn't that enough?
Because you go to work at 7:30, right?
No, I leave the house at about... No, I wake up at 6. I make coffee for her, for us, and then I leave at 6:30. And then I'm off work around 3:30, and that's when I go hiking. I'm back home by 6.
30.
6 o'clock.
30.
5:30. I mean,
6:30.
again, the time doesn't matter. It's between 5:30 and 6 normally.
Okay, so you get off at 3:30, and then you're hiking till 6:30.
No,
then you come home and blog about it, right?
I hike for 1 hour, and then I have to drive 45 minutes home from work. Okay, that's part of the commute. So I'm home by 6, and when I get in the house, she usually has a dinner ready, and I'm eating, and I'll, help with the kids. Sometimes I make the dinner because she's still at soccer practice, so I do help. I do dishes, and then I go up and blog because I want to share with the world, because I'm animated about what I just did, what I just saw. I want to upload the photos and put it on the computer so everyone can see what I did.
Before he shares with his family.
I would love to share with her, but she doesn't even read my blog, and when she does, she criticizes what I do. Instead of saying, well, that's really cool. Like, I was like, look at this waterfall. She's like, I don't care. She doesn't support me at all.
What, do you know why she says... You're in a room full of women, pretty much. There's some men here, and I think they're starting to bail on you. But you know why she says she doesn't care about that waterfall? She didn't experience it. She wasn't there. That mist that comes when the water hits the water and it blows in your face and the grass is whipping. She was packing 4 lunches, loading some kids up at the bus stop, getting some gum out of somebody's hair. The way you two are coming together is not working. I want to give you a wake-up call here, because I'm telling you, if you were sitting down there with a kid and they were in trouble with the law and been kicked out of school, you'd be sitting there, man, I wish somebody would have told me we were headed here before we got here. I'm telling you now. I'm telling you now. So you can look back and say, yeah, he told us. He told us. I didn't much like him. I thought he was kind of on her side and throwing me under the bus, blah, 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 blah. But he did tell me the truth. Think about that. Up next, Dr. Phill correspondent and mother Kelly Catrone is back. We'll see what happens when she paid Jesse and Jeremy a little house call, a visit to the home. Into the chaos. We'll be right back.
Doorbell.
I'm Kelly Catrone. Nice to meet you. Look at me. Say, my name is Aiden. Excuse me. Aiden, move away from the window now. I'm going to count to 3.
And later...
She was such a magnificent woman. We talked. We laughed. We did things that normal couples would do. And then all of a sudden, she turned into this mean, hateful person.
Tomorrow on an all-new Dr. Phill.
The photographs?
Would you want to know
Let's take a look.
what your husband's mistress looks like?
This is the woman he said I love you to.
Oh my God.
And a sudden outburst
I want to confront both of you.
You're out of order.
leads to a confrontation with Dr. Phill.
If you want to have a debate with me, just belly up, darling, because you are not going to win.
That's tomorrow.
Jess and I parent completely differently. Help me make some dog food. It'll be our project, okay? Come on. Yes, Mommy wants you to do it.
The kids act the way they do because they see Jeremy acting immature like a child.
Oh, no.
Go.
Do not put ice cream cones in the dog's dishes.
Yes, one of each. Yes.
When I'm disciplining the kids and the dogs, Jeremy's telling them that I'm off my rocker. I don't know what I'm talking about. They don't have to listen. And Mommy's just a big meanie.
Why did she say no?
She always says no, but what are they going to eat? We don't have dog food. I'm not going out tonight. My bond with the kids is childish and playful. I can't be a serious parent. She won't allow it.
Jeremy wants to be their friends. Grab him a napkin, because it's going to get everywhere.
It's fine. Here, cheers.
Kelly Catrone is a special contributor to the show, and she's author of a great book. The title is If You Have to Cry, Go Outside, and Other Things Your Mother Never Told You. Now, she is a woman of many accomplishments, but she says she feels her most cherished role is that of being a mom to 8-year-old Ava. Now, I sent her to visit Jesse and Jeremy, their 7-year-old son, Aiden, and Jesse's 9-year-old daughter, Alyssa.
Hey, Dr. Phill, I'm out here to meet Jesse and Jeremy and their kids. Jesse says that their house is chaotic, and your team's made a DVD. Let's take a look and see what's really happening in that house.
Aiden, do not make me chase you.
No.
Aiden, cold.
No.
Oh, my God.
Look at this mess. Do you hear Aiden?
It's like a combat zone, what's going on over in this house.
What?
A pair of plaid flannel boxers and some tube socks. That's not hot.
Do not put my stuff in their dog dishes.
Just a little bit. We'll get some like broccoli and stuff.
Oh, that's disgusting.
Yes.
That is disgusting.
Counter.
There's more than one dog in this house. I think she needs a little ohm in her home. That's what I think. Oh my God, that's their yard? If he likes hiking, he should just go hike into the garage and pick up a lawnmower.
Doorbell.
I'm Kelly Catrone. It's nice to meet you. Dr. Phill sent me from one mom to another. Here to see how I can help.
This is Kelly from the Dr. Phill
Hi.
I'm just going to hang out in the corner and watch what you guys are doing, okay?
Hey.
Oh my gosh.
Knock it off.
Sounds a lot.
These oranges are really... Aiden, stop, please.
Hey, we're going to do
Yes or
lemonade.
no?
Alyssa,
You
stop
need
him.
to stop.
Do you want to cut it?
Aiden, stop. Aiden.
Aiden, get over here.
Jeremy, grab Aiden.
All right. Stand here.
Aiden, stop, please.
We could eat that one.
No, stop. He's dirty.
Here, let me move that foil.
Aiden, why did you just do that? Oh my gosh. Can you stop? Are we doing orange juice or not?
It's like the sun's going down too, so we should go outside.
Actually, Dr. Phill wanted me to just kind of just sit down with everybody, kind of. Listen, will you come and talk to me for a minute? Aiden, come with me. Okay, let's go.
We'll try it later, okay?
So I'm on a TV show, and I work with Dr. Phill, and I'm not a doctor. I'm only a mommy. Aiden, you're looking at me. Eyes on me, mister. Stop it.
No.
Quiet. This is my interview.
But,
I'm going to ask you a few questions, and you go yay for yes and go boo for no.
but
Please take your hands out of your mouth when I'm speaking to you. I'd like to see them clasped on your lap. Thank you. And look me in the eye. Sit up straight, too, by the way. This is not a party. Are you a good helper to your mommy?
Yes.
Do not eat your boogers in front of me. I expect better manners with gentlemen I hang out with. Do not. So, can I ask you a question? Do you lick the furniture all the time? Is it something you do all the time? He licks the furniture a lot.
He likes everything.
I want you guys to take an oath. Put up your hand. Say, look at me. Say, my name is Aiden. Excuse me. My name is Aiden.
My name is Aiden.
And I'm going to try to help my mommy more.
I'm going to try to help my mom.
I, Alyssa,
I, Alyssa,
give my word
give my word
that I'm going to be a better helper to my mommy.
that I'm going to be a better helper to my mom.
Hey.
Hey there.
How's it going?
It's going good.
Spent some time with your kids.
Oh boy, how was Aiden?
He's good.
Yeah,
Accelerated, but I think they're...
Impossible for me.
He is.
Yeah, very much so.
Aiden, move away from the window now. I'm going to count to 3. Jesse, Aiden's about to pop out the back window that overlooks the terrace. You should put a safety lock on that window, too, just in case he looks up there. What are your complaints about being the man in this house?
Not wearing the pants, I guess, is maybe one. At first, I guess it was a big issue, and yes, my coworkers make...
What's it?
Will your wife allow you to play poker with us tonight? I'm a debt collector. It's easier for me to negotiate with my debtors than it is my wife.
When was the last time you guys were alone?
For our honeymoon, because since then we've gone on vacations, but with the kids, of course.
Okay,
a lot,
so you both
and, you know,
burnt. But I think that you seem like you're actually willing to get back into a relationship with your wife.
Yes.
Okay, that to me seems like a really great start. So Jeremy and Aiden is a sore topic. Tell me, what is that like?
It's very much strained. Aiden wants to be a part of Jeremy, but neither one of them know how to connect. Jeremy likes to be very rambunctious with Aiden and very kind of chaotic.
I think that's normal behavior for a dad.
But I think Jeremy takes it too far, like he takes the hiking too far.
That's something that Dr. Phill, he's good at. I'm sure he can help you with that. Wow. Hi, Dr. Phill. I just spent 3 hours with Jeremy and Jessie and their children. It seems like Jessie, she seems to get overwhelmed. She starts to escalate and nag. And then Jeremy splits emotionally or physically, goes on a hike. And then there's a little boy who has a lot of energy. And I'm really looking forward to watching you work your magic with them in the studio.
For God's sakes, do you not figure that what you're doing is not working?
Well, we're here.
I know it's not working, and that is why we're here. Hopefully this does help.
Well, you say you don't have time to interact with the kids?
Well, she said that. I don't. He goes on hikes with me.
You don't, Jeremy. Sorry. You don't. I was at your house. No, you don't. You're not doing, even if you are like what I call like a pre-1970s dad that thinks like, you know, the guy's job is to take out the garbage, sort out the lawn, deal with the dogs. You get an F. The house is not up to par. You live on a corner property. Your yard's a mess. He has a wee-wee pad wrapped around his tree outside his house next to his swing. I don't care. I thought that you had a tree surgeon there. So their son, who swings and smashes himself into the side of the tree. This is how they're dealing with a child who's banging himself into a side of the tree. You're not carrying the weight. All you're doing all day is you're yelling at your kid all day, and everybody's swinging in and out of this situation. And Alyssa, by the way, she's an angel.
She is.
She's an angel. I mean, that little girl is just going with the flow, and you're not her biological father, and you moved him in a week after meeting him.
No.
So that's...
No, not a week after.
Well, you met, and then you lived together, right? I mean, it was
a while.
No, it was right away.
Whatever. Her whole thing is her life was probably a little smoother before.
What do you hear us... tell me what you're hearing so far.
That Aiden's out of control. Our life is out of control. We're not connecting. We're not on the same page, which is why we're here.
Well, I don't... You know, I hate these overused terms like we're not connecting, we don't communicate, we're not on the same page. What it means, basically, let's not use metaphors and euphemisms. Let's talk about what it really is. You are teaching these kids that no one is in control. And when you see your son licking the furniture and doing these other ritualistic behaviors, he's just anxiety-ridden. This is anxiety. This boy is just tied up in knots inside because of this chaos. You've got to calm this situation down. I don't care whether you think it's her fault or you think it's his fault. I don't care. F. It's not working, and your kids are paying the price. So you got to stop trying to be right and win the argument and come out better in terms of perception, and you need to be figuring out something to do. We've been talking all of this time. Neither one of you have said, Dr. Phill, tell me something to do different. Dr. Phill, put a verb in your sentence. Dr. Phill, tell me what to do to save my children from this chaos. Neither one of you have asked. You've been barking at each other. Neither one of you have asked one specific question for help. We'll be right back. You're going to have to go commando about it. This isn't something you ease into. And so hear me, it's going to get worse before it gets better, because when you start saying no more of this, they're going to freak. He's going to freak. And later, I should have listened to my friends who said Emily is a bitch. I'm stuck here because of you. That's a tough way to feel. If you really feel that way, you must be really miserable.
Jeremy's obsession with hiking is almost destroying the family because it's hiking, 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 and then, oh, wait, do I have a family? Oh, yes, there they are.
One day, I just decided I'm going to go hiking for 1,000 straight days. When I'm done hiking, the first thing I want to do is come home and share it. So I get on the computer, I upload the photos, and I write about my experience.
With all the hiking that my husband does, he does not know the first thing about being a husband or a parent.
You've seen him 0%
I was
today.
just
You have
I'm
seen
going to take him hiking
0%.
with...
He has wet hair. He's not going out hiking.
About 3 weeks ago, he lost his wedding ring. It crosses my mind that Jeremy might be off doing something else during these hikes. Am I stupid to believe he's really hiking?
So, is Jeremy really in the woods hiking? So, because you had questions, we thought we'd do an investigation. Take a look.
I decided to come over to the state park to check on Jeremy, who likes to hike here. Jessie says that she thinks he's up to something. He lost his wedding ring, his hair is always a mess, and he spends all night on the internet. So for all the women who've ever felt like this, I decided to come out and just get an insider's view as to what Jeremy's really up to. Perfectly hit his mark. Flex those muscles, babe. Picture of himself.
Okay, so you can cross that one off your list, right? I mean,
Yes.
obviously he's doing exactly what he told you he's doing, exactly where he tells you he's doing it. So, I mean, he's out hiking and jogging and doing healthy things. The two of you need to decide to stop blaming each other. You need to stop acting like a child, in your own words. You need to recognize that you're like the little boy that cried wolf. I mean, you've yelled so much, you've badgered and bickered so much, nobody cares anymore. And Aiden needs to be evaluated. Okay, I think he has some anxiety disorders. He may have some ADD or ADHD. And he's at an age now where you can evaluate him for that. What'd you say?
No, I'm just like, no, I feel like ADHD and ADD is just so overused these days. I think you're right. He does have anxiety issues. And I think living in a hyper crazy environment is making him that way. I don't think it's ADHD.
So what's wrong with getting him tested, though? Just, I mean, wouldn't it be better to, like, say, hey, good news, he's not?
Yeah,
or,
absolutely.
If he
If you've ever watched this show, you've heard me say that those are wastebasket diagnoses that are way overused and applied.
Absolutely.
But the truth is that there is a neurological profile that determines whether or not he is neocortically underdeveloped. It's not an opinion. It's a matter of fact with the technology we have today. And saying, no, I don't want that to be true is no solution. You're going to have to plug in here. If you want to keep doing the same things you've been doing, you're going to get the same result that you currently have. I'm telling you that the two of you need to fall back and decide that there is no good cop, bad cop here. You guys are going to have to establish some very predictable rules in this house that are calmly enforced, and you're going to have to go commando about it. This isn't something you ease into. And so hear me, it's going to get worse before it gets better, because when you start saying no more of this, they're going to freak. He's going to freak. And so he's going to ramp up and get worse for a day or two. And then it's going to calm down. When I say commando, I'm saying if this little boy is out of control, then you need to take everything out of his world right now. He needs to have a bed and a blanket and a pillow. Nothing on the walls, no TV, no video games, no nothing. And he needs to learn I can earn those back with good behavior. When I'm told to go to bed, if I do what I'm told, then I get to stay up that late the next night. He needs to understand that there are consequences to his actions and that you consistently enforce those things. Think about what I said.
I will.
Okay? I don't think you will. I think you've decided that this didn't work out for you, that I just don't get it, because you're saying, I did that. I've done it. I've done it. I've done it. I've done it. You are inconsistent. You yell and you scream. You are not listened to. The kids cannot predict the consequences of their actions with you. And as a result, you've got chaos. Unless and until you acknowledge that, this is not going to get better.
I acknowledge that. I get that.
We acknowledge that.
That's why I'm here.
And we are here, and we want to make this right.
Okay. Well, I suggest that you get your son evaluated.
we don't know the first step about
I
getting
will
that.
arrange for that.
Don't even have health insurance.
I will arrange for that.
Okay.
I will arrange for that. I will arrange for it to get done. I will make it happen. Don't worry about insurance. Don't worry about finding the right person. I will get that evaluated.
Okay.
And then when I give you the information, if you misuse it because you don't want to hear the results, I can't help you. I can't help you. You need help. You need somebody to come in and restructure this household along the lines that I'm talking about. And I will arrange for that as well. And you know what I'm going to tell them? I'm going to tell them when you argue the first time to fold up their tent and leave. Because I am not going to chase you people. Next, a woman who says she hates being a wife and mother and regrets that she had her children. We'll be right back.
I do hate being a wife and a mother. Jeff doesn't help me with the kids.
My job is to keep the bills paid.
I'm falling out of love with my family.
Emily should stop whining. Deal with it.
And later, I work. That is my contribution to the family. I am the sole breadwinner, and that's all the contribution I should give, and I want Dr. Phill to prove I'm right. I feel like we have children, and she should just deal with it and stop whining. Things can get chaotic in the home, there's no question about it. My next guest, Emily, says that she's actually thought about running away from her life because she, quotes, hates being a mother and a wife.
I'm married to Jeff, and we have 3 children. I do hate being a wife and a mother. There were times when I was pregnant with my 3rd child that I did not want him to come out. I just kept thinking about how it was another person that I would have to take care of. I feel overwhelmed because Jeff doesn't help me with the kids. He feels that it's not his responsibility.
My job as a husband is to keep the bills paid, keep food in the kids' mouth, keep clothes on their back. Emily's job is to take care of our children.
There's days when I just wish I didn't have to pick up my children from daycare. I just think about the chaos when we walk in the door.
I've said hurtful things to Emily. I've said I should have listened to my friends when they told me that you were no good for me. I've also told Emily I've wasted my time.
I feel that my husband doesn't support me. My kids are against me. Jeff is the good guy, and I'm the bad guy at home.
I lay back and watch my kids disrespect my wife just to see what kind of reaction she gives them. The kids like me better than they like Emily. The kids don't respect Emily.
I feel like I'm falling out of love with my family. I sometimes sense that my children feel that they're not wanted. I just feel alone. Sometimes I just want to get in my car and drive away until I run out of gas.
Emily says she no longer wants to be a wife and mother. Emily should stop whining and just deal with it.
Well, first I have to say, you do have beautiful children.
Thank you.
Y'all make great-looking kids. Wow. If you knew then what you know now, would you have married her?
No.
Why not?
She was such a magnificent woman. I mean, we talked, we laughed, we did things that normal couples would do. And then, all of a sudden, she turned into this mean, hateful person.
Mm-hmm. You have said we do extensive interviews with you guys ahead of time, as you know.
Yes,
and you were both very forthcoming and honest with us. I wrote down some of the things you said that I thought were particularly relevant. You said, quote, you are a waste of my time. You ruined my life. I should have listened to my friends who said Emily is a bitch. I'm stuck here because of you.
You know what?
That's a tough way to feel. I mean, if you really feel that way, you must be really miserable.
Let's back up a minute. The reason why I say those things is to get her to back off of me. There are times when I would come in the house, and she knows this, that she would just attack me, verbally attack me for no reason at all. And I have so much anger built up inside of me because I sacrificed so much. I really sacrificed so much. I gave up what I feel would be a wonderful and lucrative career. I gave up a life that, I mean, wow. I had a lot of potential.
If you knew then what you know now, would you have married him?
No. I mean, when we first met, we were in college. Things were good. We had one child. We didn't have careers. I just feel, I mean, I love my children. I truly do. But he wants, you know, several kids. And so I feel kind of that I've given him his children.
How's it going with the kids?
It's going great with the kids. But the thing is, okay, she's given me my children, but she hasn't given me the other part that I said I wanted to do with my life.
Which is?
I want more than I want more than Iowa.
Yeah. If this is really important to him, why are you somewhere geographically you don't want to be doing something you don't want to do? Particularly if it carries all this resentment from him. Why are you wanting to be where you are?
I'm from Iowa. My family lives there. We're close to my family. I don't want to move. I mean, he's always saying, oh, I want this career, I want that career, I want to move here, I want a job where I can travel, where I can move, where I can advance. I don't want to move, you know, to Florida to live for a couple years, to move to Texas, to move for a couple years, to move to California.
I understand you want to be close to your family, but you're an adult now. This is your family. Your husband and your children are your family. You don't... Did I finally say something you liked?
Yes, I like that.
All right, we got to take a break. Emily reveals why she says she's jealous of the attention Jeff showers on their children, especially their 3.5-year-old daughter. You're jealous of your 3.5-year-old daughter?
Yes.
We'll be right back.
Alyssa's my baby girl, I spoil her.
I call Alyssa my problem child. She will scream in my face, hit me, yell at me. I feel jealous for Jeff giving Alyssa most of the attention.
If I paid the same attention to Emily as I do Alyssa, our marriage would be better.
I feel that Jeff cares about Alyssa more than he cares about me.
Well, Emily admits if she could start over, she would not have children at all. She also admits to being jealous of her husband Jeff's relationship with their 3.5-year-old daughter, Alyssa. Now, have you all not said this is not working? Would you rather be miserable in Iowa or happy in Texas? Would you rather be with somebody that is the kind of vibrant woman that you love and admire, or somebody that's sorry she ever married you?
Wonderful and vibrant.
So why are you doing what you're doing? Why are you not negotiating something different here?
We've talked about moving, and I'm willing to move. It's just, I feel it would be the inconsistency of him knowing what he truly wants to do.
Wait a minute.
You understand your responsibilities go way beyond putting a roof over their heads, right?
Yes, I do.
Because that's what you said. You said, my contribution here is that I pay the bills. That I work. That is my contribution to the family. I am the sole breadwinner, and that's all the contribution I should give, and I want Dr. Phill to prove I'm right. I feel like we have children, and she should just deal with it and stop whining.
That's, to be honest, true. I mean, a lot of times I feel that way. I mean, I've given up so much. Why can't she sacrifice?
I work full time. So if I came home from work and decided, oh, I'm home, I'm off work, who's going to cook? Who's going to clean? Who's going to put the kids in bed? I don't get to come home and just lay on the couch, watch TV.
Do you understand?
My day doesn't end when I get off work.
Do you understand the weight that is put on my shoulders? If you would understand that. I mean, honestly, it all falls back on me. If you didn't have a job, honestly, if it all falls back on me. If my family lived on the streets, if we didn't have food in the house, I mean, if we didn't have transportation, well, what's her husband doing? Why isn't he doing this? Why isn't he doing that?
I understand that you have a lot of weight on your shoulders, but so do I. I work all day. I have a tough job.
But what you're telling me you want me to do is go to work, because I get up at 5 o'clock in the morning. A lot of times, I don't get home at least until 7 or 8. I'm supposed to come in, prepare dinner, give the kids a bath, put them to bed. I mean, come on.
And that's not what I want, and I don't ask that. Yes, when he walks in the door, the kids run to him because they want to see him, and I try to take advantage, like, I'm going to go take a bath. I'm going to go do something by myself for an hour. I get in the bathtub, knock, knock, knock. We have to go potty. We want this. We want that. The kids are crying. Where's Dad? Watching TV.
Those children need their father engaged in their life, interacting with them, involved in their school projects, going to their games, talking to them when they're upset, confused, or crying, celebrating when they're happy, bonding with them through hobbies and projects and opportunities and things that you can do. They need those things from you. It's not, it just, I tell you what, I would a whole lot, I said this to y'all, you say, oh no, I have to run this daycare, I have to do this stuff. Let me tell you, you would be better off living in a single-wide trailer with an engaged father than a nice house with an absent father. I'll guarantee you. You have to decide what your priorities are, whether your priorities are bricks and mortar and a house and a car, or whether your priority is that you nurture each other and you give your children a chance to flourish in this world. All right, we got to take a break. Jeff admits to recently leaving their home for 1 week due to fighting with Emily. Has this couple passed the point of no return? We'll see. They both said they had to do over again, they wouldn't do it. Well, maybe now's the choice point. We'll be right back. Relationships are negotiations, and the negotiation never ends. And if you are so resentful and embittered at her for what you think she has caused you to sacrifice and take away from you, then you need to go back to the negotiation table. If you say, this is not the life I wanted a husband, an involved husband, and I don't want to be a vagabond moving around the country all the time, but I do want to work at this, then you've got to come back to the table. And you know what? I have a rule in the way I approach negotiations. And I'm a pretty good negotiator. And my number one rule, if I'm sitting down negotiating with you, is to figure out how I can get you the most of what you want. That's my number one rule. It's not getting what I want. I'll get to that in a minute. Trust me, it will be on the list. But oftentimes we want and value different things. So it may be I can give you tons of what you want without costing me what is most important to me. What is most important to you, is it not, is that you want a partner.
Yes, I do.
You want to be treated with dignity and respect.
Yes.
You want to be loved.
Yes.
You want to be nurtured.
Yes.
You want to be protected. Mm-hmm. You want all the things that people want when they form a marriage. You want help with your children. You want a peaceful life.
Yes.
There's not one thing she wants that you don't want her to have.
It's true.
Don't you want her to have a man that loves her?
I do love her.
And don't you want her to feel that?
Yes.
And don't you want the kids to be healthy and happy and secure and the home to be peaceful? So everything that she prioritizes, you're willing to give.
True.
And she has just said, look, I'm willing to move. I just don't want to get badgered in a different place. And you admit you're very angry at her. I mean, that's your victim role. You're very angry at her. And I'm saying stop being a victim and start creating your own experience. Step up and say, all right, I will pledge to you, and mean it when you say it, if you will support me in what I think is important in my ability to provide for this family financially and to feel that I'm doing something I can be proud of, if you will support me in that, I will bend over backwards in taking the stress off of you and helping you in this relationship. And you two can come back together and be excited again. Yeah. He's not an evil guy. He's just really pissed off.
I mean, I don't mean to yell and nag all the time, but I don't know what else to do.
What you just told Dr. Phill, You said, okay, why should I move to make him happy? Why can't it be about us?
She is feeling the need to move back there because your ass is checked out.
I have checked out. I have checked out.
You check back in, that need will go way down. Seriously, if you plug back in, that need... She's saying, these are the people that love and support me. Why would I go off with the enemy?
And that's how I feel. If I'm going to sit at home and be the one to get my kids up and take them to school and daycare and go to work and come home and cook and clean and get them ready for bed, why not move closer so at the end of the day I can send them to my parents' house so I can have some time to myself?
Because it's time to grow up and work this out here. You either need to work this out, or get a divorce and go home. Those are the options, right?
Yes.
You either need to work it out or get a divorce and go home. And you have to be willing to broaden your definition of what being a man involves. And listen, I know this because I started out the same place. Robin will tell you, when I was a young doctor, I was working 20 hours a day, stamping out disease and suffering. Right. I was going to save the world, and, I mean, whoever's got the most toys in the end wins. That was it for me. And then as we began to grow as a couple and as a family, I began to realize that my responsibilities went way beyond how much money I brought to the table. It went to teaching our boys to grow up to be responsible young men, to show them how to be husbands and fathers, to show them how to meet their responsibilities and contribute to the world. And to do that, I had to get involved and be plugged in. And, you know, she's the heart of the home. She's always been the heart of the home. But I got way more involved, and you can too, and you need to. And if he did that, and you could just, and it came time to move, you'd sit right in his lap and say, let's go. Would you not? If you could trust him to be there for you emotionally and every other way.
Yes, and he knows that.
And that's what we need to work on, and I will get somebody to help you with that if you need help. We'll be right back. Well, we've been talking about chaos in the family, and I want to thank both of my couples today for coming here and talking about this, because look, there is stress. You merge lives, you start sharing space, time, money, energy, effort, then you throw in a couple of kids, and they want to eat every day. They want to, you know, there's always something. Thanks to my expert PR powerhouse, owner of People's Revolution, and Dr. Phill correspondent Kelly Catrone. Now, you can go out and buy her book and read it. I have. You will like it. It is entertaining and is informative. If you have to cry, go outside. It's now out in paperback, and everyone in the audience gets a copy today, so you're going home with that. Thanks for being here. So long.